but yeah, but then when our son was born, we actually, well, even ahead of him being born, we made particular agreements amongst ourselves. And so the agreements were, number one, that each one of us will speak only our mother tongue with our son.
What?
And we made that agreement before he was born.
CTA with Honorable Kadri, Video 8.
You know, the thing about interviewing leaders is that sometimes we need to stop because they're leaders and they have engagements and plans. And I've noticed the difference when I'm interviewing leaders and when I'm interviewing other people. With a couple of the CTAs that I've already done, there are times we've had to stop because there are engagements that have happened. And as much as I've been buddy-buddy with you, I keep forgetting that you are the Honorable Consul from Estonia to Kenya. And you had some government-to-government conversations to have. So thank you for coming back to have conversations with us.
No, it's all good. And you see, that's, I think, one of the beautiful things that happened with COVID is that now it's very natural to do those meetings digitally.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not forgetting where we are because I'm very interested in where the conversation is right now.
Yes.
And you are at the point of explaining the genesis of computers coming into your life, more specifically the inventor from Estonia, aka your father,
Yes.
built a computer. I understand it from the context of where you talked that no importation of parts and stuff, you are closed off from the rest of the world.
Yes.
So even the way he built it, go on with that story.
Yeah, because you see, the entire science behind electronics, that was not in short supply in the Soviet Union. If you remember, Soviet Union built rockets,
Yes.
they sent rockets into the space and things like that. So it is the ability to create digital tools, digital components, the necessary components for it, all that was there. It was just a question of thinking through which are the ways in which, with existing, screens or any of that, it's possible to create a computer that has the functions that a computer does.
Kadri, that's nothing small that you've said, because there's not one way to skin a rat or skin a cat. Who came up with that saying? First of all, who was busy skinning a cat? But what I'm just trying to say is there's not one way to do something. And because one way is popularized doesn't mean it's the only way.
Yeah.
Of course, it may be later on become the most efficient and hence why the masses adopt it. But your dad figured out how to do the end product, but through a different route.
Yes, yes. And you see, that is the entire concept of being an inventor. It means that there is a problem that you wish to solve, and you think of how do I arrive at that point in, and solving that problem.
Yes.
Because the problem was there was need for computers, there were no computers, hence let's create one, let's think how it is possible to create one without, having to wait until Soviet Union ends and some of these multinationals out there provide it. And so in very many ways, it then continues from there into, what would become the Estonian path to a digital society.
But even that, before that, you talked about then that leading up to high school. Where
high school, yes, of course. Where, yes, we in 80s, we were learning how to do computer programming. In DOS language.
So it wasn't MS-DOS, it was just DOS.
It was DOS. Because we did not have Microsoft.
MS, I know.
So then being able to, make use of what you have, being able to develop that. And one of the other things is Estonia was already a center, even during Soviet time, for different aspects of digital, crypto, cyber, being able to do various computations
Yeah.
that were necessary. And so with that, when the Soviet Union left, the Estonian brains, the Estonian academicians, their knowledge, their ability to take on the next steps. You know, my father was just but one of
Yes.
those players. He was not alone. And, you know, there are many others in all these various fields who were able to then look at, you know, where are we? What have we achieved? What capabilities do we have within? And what do we want to achieve as a country?
Okay.
And that, the mindset of what we need, we will create, and we will create with the most economic manner.
Yes, because it's not like you have banks of wads of cash just chilling for you to
No.
buy everything and anything.
No.
So even going digital, I keep saying in trainings, digital is a way to make things faster, easier, cheaper, more agile. But the word cheaper is what I use. Think digital first, because you're allowed to, the same end results, you can achieve them cheaper.
Yes.
So cheaper was the reason, was one of the pillars or reasons as to why Estonia was looking to go the digital route.
Yes, because as you correctly say, our economy was not doing well. We needed systems. We needed, like, for example, now if you say, okay, we need to cater for the country's need to gain services from the government. And you're looking at, okay, how many offices do we need to build vis-a-vis, let's create digital. How many people do we need to employ into, you know, multiple offices vis-a-vis, let's go digital.
Wow.
So it was very, very clearly the fact that we needed to go digital, plus it was also the fact that our population is small. And the only way you're able to multiply your population is through digital tools.
This was the perfect storm. Estonia was found themselves in a very difficult position, and that difficult position created an innovation and a solution that has catapulted them to be the leaders. Now, why I say that is because in every country's life, they are constantly faced with perfect storms. So this is not unique to Estonia. It's just an example of what Estonia did in a very difficult time. I mean, you are so poor. Finland was saying, oh yeah, don't worry, we've got old phones which, don't worry, they're not as old as your 21s, but they're old. When we upgrade, let's give you the handouts. Okay, in this time, 1994, I don't want us to pass 1994 to 1996 because this, I feel like, is a foundational time. Between 91 to 96, what's happening here is extremely foundational to Estonia's frog leaping. But where are you in life at this time?
Oh, so in 1994, I was briefly in Estonia because I got married. And
wait, Meg told me to make sure I ask this one. So she's like, tell us about the Mr. Man that you met.
Okay, so he was doing his master's degree in urban planning, in architecture in Finland.
Wow.
And so he finished his course before I finished mine because I was doing bachelor's.
Yeah.
So he came back to Kenya.
Oh my God, that's the kind of resource we had in urban planning.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
And so he came back to Kenya, and I came to Kenya to do my research in social anthropology.
What year is this the first time you
92.
come to Africa?
Yes, I came to Africa, to Kenya in 1992. I was 20 years old because why not?
Okay. Kadri, you're going to jump to 94. Hell no. So I want to understand what, honestly, at that time when you come, are you blinded by love? But even despite being blinded by love, what are your thoughts on Kenya as somebody who is arriving from Estonia, Finland, America, of Kenya?
So because you see, if you think it was 1992, Estonia average salary was what? 5,000. Estonia was going through severe poverty, food shortages,
Rationing.
etc. It was, for me, Estonia and Kenya appeared the same. I did not see a major difference because also if you think 1992,
Major.
Kenya had not yet gone through market liberalization. When in Estonia you had one type of tomato sauce on the shelf, so did Kenya. All the international brands had not yet come into Kenya.
1992 was pivotal even in the fact that Kenya was having multi-partyism.
Correct.
The first elections were more than one party.
Yes, and I was in Kenya during that time. and so being able to watch exactly how in some ways, Kenya was actually ahead of Estonia.
Yeah.
Kenya had independence for several decades.
1964, you're right.
Kenya had many large industries in the country. So Kenya was ahead.
Wow. And in terms of when you say Kenya, where did you come to? Nairobi?
Nairobi, yes.
You came to Nairobi?
Yes, so I came to Nairobi, and yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved number one, I loved the fact that it was different. You see, the thing is, I like things that are new, that are different. I have that curiosity, which is like, oh, this is different. How fun!
That's an amazing trait.
And so, like 92, 93, there were some heavy rains. And I remember going to a place in Riruta. Satellite. There were no roads. And so you walk through mud, and every now and then your shoe gets stuck in the mud, and you fish it out, and you carry on walking. And I mean, this is something I don't get to do in Finland.
I love it.
And so I had absolute blast.
Yes. Let me ask.
Yes.
How was it for you telling your parents, your friends, that you're going to Kenya?
So
what was that? Even that you are dating an African.
So because I didn't make it a big deal, I did not see a reason to sort of prepare, guys, please, I want to warn you ahead of time, I saw no read for that. And so I really did not have a need to explain because, I mean, why?
Wow. But mentally, didn't you just think and be like, okay, I may not have a lack of understanding, but I'm aware other people may. Or you were just like that?
But I don't care if they do. I mean, it's their problem. It's not my problem.
You're unique, Kadri. I'm being honest. I'm just like, I love it and I love the mentality of it. You know what I mean? Not too many people are like that, and I wish more people are like that. In all things, because it would make the world a much better place. So, but did you get questions? And how did you then, if you did, how did you then, from friends, family, how did you get over that?
So, I don't, okay, so number one, the first time when I was now coming to Kenya, because I was the one who had earned the money, I was the one who was paying with my money.
Yes.
Why would I need to explain it? So that's number one. But number two, it was also, I think, and this is where the one that probably struggled with it most was my grandmother.
Okay.
And let me explain why. Okay. So it was like this. So when I was small, I was probably maybe 4 or 5 years old there, because my grandmother also, she was amazing. She was doing tailoring and she had amazing skills in all of that area. And so when I was 4 or 5 years old, she made for me a doll, and the doll had dark complexion, the doll looked like. It was from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the longest time, my grandmother was, oh, can you imagine? I made for her that doll, and now look here. So deep down, she blamed herself.
I inception her.
But I think to most people, you know, I think I'm rather independent in the sense that I make my own decisions.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily go asking people's opinions
And permission.
or permissions for that matter. So I really, I mean, apart from, you know, my grandmother blaming herself, I really did not feel the need to explain to anybody.
And to your own parents?
I never asked them, and they never told me.
Okay. Did you introduce him to?
Oh yeah.
Did he come to Estonia?
Oh yeah, many times.
Okay.
Many times. In
Okay.
fact, he absolutely loved going to the summer cottage and
Yeah.
being helpful there. And I mean, yeah, he was absolutely part of it.
It's sad that I have to ask these questions, but I ask them understanding that people have different opinions. And hopefully you sharing and you talking can, one, help people in interracial marriages, two, give context to people who may not be as open. And I'm not even talking about as open to in terms of entering relationships, but just from a judgmental perspective. So it's I love when I hear love wins. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, you come to Kenya, you come home. This was the beginning of a long time that you're home. So the first time you come is
92.
Yeah.
I stayed for about 3 months to do my research, etc., etc. I went back to Finland. Then he came back to, well, Finland for some time. Then we were in Estonia briefly. Our son was born.
In Estonia now?
In Estonia.
In what year?
93.
93. Did you get the... but were you working in Estonia? Wondering, did you get the 1.5 years?
Well,
or was it implemented yet?
You see, the thing is, I was a student.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so, but then when our son was born, we actually, well, even ahead of him being born, we made particular agreements amongst ourselves. And so the agreements were, number one, that each one of us will speak only our mother tongue with our son.
What?
And we made that agreement before he was born, because it is necessary to make those decisions ahead of time, so that the first time you speak with the child, you already speak with the language you've chosen. Because it then becomes very difficult in one's own mind to keep saying, okay, today I spoke in English, today I should speak in Estonian, today I should... I mean, it becomes confusing for the parent, and then it becomes confusing for the child.
I've never even thought of this. It's amazing. Okay, go on.
And so, it refers to one of the books here, because in Estonia there are more and more parents who grapple with that. Is a multilingual child a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes.
And so there's a chapter in this book about, you know, my case study in terms of...
Who wrote this book?
So this is an Estonian who lives in Germany. So she's a scientist, but she herself also has a multilingual home, and different families have different challenges with it.
And you can imagine this, because of the European Union and the accessibility of ease. I said the ease and the ease and accessibility that comes with being part of the EU.
Yes.
So there must be a lot of different nationalities married together.
But you see, not all of them have that question of, I need to maintain my language.
Oh, wow.
And so this is why even when we knew that at some point we will move to Kenya, I knew that in Kenya, I will bring up my son with having Estonian language.
Yes.
Even when there is nobody else in the entire Kenya for him to speak with in Estonian language, I will make sure he has the language.
Did you even know of another Estonian who had come to Africa?
No.
Do you know any who's been here as long as you in Africa?
No. I believe I am the Estonian who has lived the longest in Africa.
Wow.
I've lived in Kenya for 30 years.
Yeah, Jay, you are a Kenyan. you're more Kenyan than Meg. You're older than her in terms of time you spent here.
And yeah, so that was one of the decisions.
I love that intentionality in parenting, especially from the. So he would speak to him in Luo,
Yes.
and you would speak to him in Estonian.
Yes.
What did you call it in what's its purest form?
Eesti keel.
Estiger.
Yeah.
Okay. So does he know both, your son now?
Oh yes, he does.
Wow.
And because he grew up speaking the two languages. Anyway, there are so many of these fascinating stories, but one of them was at some point in time I had a small cafe in town, and because
Simili. Hey, Kadri.
and because one of the other decisions we made was that the first 3 years of our son's life, I will not hold a job, because the first 3 years of a child's life is the most important for the person they become, the intellect they develop, basically they
Even
are
the EQ,
a
the emotional,
sponge,
yes,
exactly,
yes.
all of that. And so for that reason, I went everywhere with him. If I was going somewhere, keeping a small cafe in town was quite simple. And so that time he was 2 years old, and he was occasionally roaming around, and all of a sudden there is a lady who just walks back with him, and I no big deal. But then afterwards she came and told me, do you know, there was somebody who was already walking with him, and they had gone like 2-3 blocks off, and this lady saw this person with my son. And luckily there was a policeman somewhere nearby. And so she alerted the policeman and says, look, this lady is walking with this child, but this child does not belong to this lady. And the policeman says, well, prove it. And she says, because that small boy speaks Luo. And let me speak to Luo with him, and you can see he speaks, but this lady does not speak Luo.
What?
And so as soon as that happened, the lady let go of my son's hand and took off. And so the lady brought back my son.
Wow.
So
Wow.
real life skills from being able to speak multiple languages.
Wow. Okay. And at the time, he was born in Estonia.
Yes. And then we came to Kenya when...
But birth in Estonia, does it make him an instant citizen?
Well, he is an Estonian citizen because his mother is Estonian. Mm-hmm. Birth in Estonia does not guarantee citizenship. It's only when you have lineage to Estonian Republic, or you have taken Estonian language test to the level that is required for citizenship.
So, but he had lineage through you?
Yes, he did. And he does. And so he's Estonian citizen.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Such an interesting dynamic. Now we've entered relationship 101. Okay. So again, I don't want to leave this era of 96. So how long are you in Kenya, and when do you come back?
Oh, well, okay. So I was here from 1995, we now came to live in Kenya.
Okay. So
when Estonia 1994 digital and knowledge-based and information society blueprint is created, 1996 it's endorsed as a result.
What does that mean when you say it's endorsed?
It's endorsed in the sense that the Estonian parliament approved that as being the way the country is going forward. And as a result, 1998, all Estonian schools get connection to internet.
Okay, Kadri, this is you. Okay, I'm going to bring in this aspect in. you brought in the Estonia president, came to Kenya,
Yes.
or a couple of years back.
Yes.
And one of the conversations that I had, and I asked one of our ministers at the time, was, I know the aspect of I actually stood up to ask a question.
In 3, 2, 1, let's go!
I'm feeling very choir vibes in this situation.
There's my train.
That is your train? Okay. So we're in Tallinn, the capital city of Estonia, on a trade mission. We came out all the way from Nairobi, which has sun, to this place that does not. And we are trying to figure out what life looks like for businesses, for our companies, for our relationships with folks, because we're trying to go global. And every day we're going to be doing this thing called Pass the Spoon.
Pass the spoon.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a moment to say what their reflections are, because we want you all to come on this journey with us. Today it's my turn to go first. Listen.
Trying to eat slow.
You see the kind of people I hang around. You see how I'm stressed out. This is the challenges I face. Look, so today we had a conversation with a company that was part of building 5 unicorns in Estonia. And their perception of building something global and successful is different from mine.
Yeah.
Like, you know how it feels like a task?
Yeah.
You're looking at it and it's like a distant hill.
Yeah.
The way our Kamba brothers say, Nova, but you know it's like far away, it's a distance.
Yeah.
That's how I've always perceived it. But these guys didn't perceive it that way. In fact, the way they are perceiving it, and he told us this when we were in the room and you
Yes.
were there.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, we're looking for the 6th unicorn to build.
Yeah.
They have a mindset where possibility isn't something that you have to think about,
Yeah,
discuss,
yeah,
negotiate, look into, or pray about. None of that.
Yeah.
All of those things are nice, but they're like, this is possible. We've done it 5 times before. Doing it a 6th time is easy. And you know what it's taught me? Hang around people who believe it's possible. Not around people who don't. You can't waste all your time convincing yourself and then convincing someone else and then trying to convince someone else and someone else. Just find people who believe it.
Yeah.
And for me, this trip is all about people who are believing it, and I've really enjoyed that.
Pass
Passing
the spoon, bro.
Pass the spoon. Who wants the spoon? Who wants the spoon?
Okay,
Take the spoon.
I've taken the spoon. I love what he said. First and foremost, in case you're wondering why this bunch of weird guys have all come together,
Yeah.
it's because we have the same mindset, man. We have the same mindset, which is an I can mindset.
I can't.
Unbound. But I just want to say a big shout out to each and every single one of you. We are reading your comments. We are loving the feedback, and it is the heat, the motivation for us to continue. So today I left you guys. You guys, what the heck?
I'm sorry. You were saying something?
You guys, what the heck?
I apologize. I've never done that before. It just came to me.
I enjoyed it though.
Richie,
I enjoyed it.
You were saying. You were saying. You were saying.
Okay, so I was talking about mindset.
That's thrown you off.
It's thrown me off. No, it's not thrown me off.
You have this, bro. You have
So
this. Let's do it.
I left these guys. I went on a whole different tangent today. So I left the group and I went to a public school. I went to a school, not a group of schools, not a Breba, not a Braeside, none of that. I went to a proper local government-funded public school. And you know what I learned?
What'd you learn?
Today.
Yeah.
This guy start early, bro.
Whoa.
That mindset thing that you're talking about. Yeah. This guy start from the very, very beginning.
Yes.
I went to this school, this would be a Kilimani in Nairobi. Nothing against that. I'm just trying to give context.
Right.
I don't want you to think that I'm going to a Braeburn.
Right.
Full door indoor court.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not just the infrastructure. I entered a class. In this class, these guys were learning, and then they were learning VR. So they were learning about London. After learning about London, they then go into the VR class and they travel to London. The teacher started showing me about now robotics. How these guys, they don't start with the Legos in kindergarten.
No.
They start with small robotic Legos. All the way, by the time they're in class 7, they've moved to chips.
Wow.
I mean, this thing
Like
was
microchips,
mind-blowing.
like
Yeah. The teachers have autonomy. They have more power. They're able to look and say, nah, we're not teaching this right now because we can see how it's affecting the mental health of the kids in the school. Let me just say what I learned, minus the digitalness that we know Estonia about. There's a value system. There's a start them off early mentality that these guys have, and these guys are extremely intentional about. Pass the spoon.
Pass the
Pass the spoon. Who wants the spoon, man?
Give the spoon. All right. Now, you know the Kenyan motto is Harambe.
Yes.
And the Kenya Sacco movement has really brought about development in our country.
Right.
It has done what banks were not able to do. I veil credit to that.
That's right.
But that thinking of cooperative movement is actually evident in these guys. And even in the meetings that we saw, there's an ecosystem in the sense that we talk about, we met this company, they say, yes, we know that person. And because they share different things with one another. Yes, they are sharing, and they share resources, they share contacts. Yes,
collective thinking. That's a collective
and even when we are connecting me to you, you know the way us guys say, oh, we've connected me to you, you know, so what's my share in my connecting? It's it's a value for them. You know, it's something that they say, if I connect you to this person, I'm not going to ask for anything. Mine is, they have helped you to get to where you need to be. That cooperative thing, I'm just saying, we already have it. I just don't know how we can leverage it.
Harness it.
Yes, we can harness it. All right, pass the spoon.
Pass the spoon. Pass the spoon. Today's my lesson today is just on one word.
What's the word?
Futuristic.
Right.
Futuristic. Yesterday we came here and we said Estonia is the most digitized society in the world.
That's true. It's no lie.
But what I heard today, they are not thinking about today. They are not happy with where they are today. They are thinking about many years from today. But there is one thing that will make a difference in the future.
Yeah.
Data.
Data.
They are obsessed with data. In fact, in their words, data is the new gold. Data is the new gold. And I realize, you know what? We can digitize our companies, we can digitize our countries today. But if we don't think about data, we'll still be left behind.
That is true. That is true.
So I left thinking, you know, what do I need to switch? Now, there is something that they say that was so key. Digital twin.
Oh yeah, we talked about digital twin.
Digital twin. Digital twin. Take that word. Digital twin.
Unpack that for us.
Digital twin is where you create a virtual reality of the real thing. You create another Esther virtually. Now, this is where data comes in. I have the real Esther, and I have the virtual Esther. Now I start collecting data from the real Esther. I see what is not working.
That's right.
What is not working? Where are the bottlenecks?
That's right.
And then before I adjust the real
Thing,
I adjust the virtual.
You see how good?
Hey, wait, man. Wait.
This is so good.
Wait, man.
Because we're gonna use it.
Let me tell you. You start testing the virtual
before you implement.
You start seeing you start seeing the future Esther virtually, and then when you perfect it, you go and sort out the real Esther.
Bro, I'm not even cold. That's too much heat you're bringing.
You know, you see all these cities here, you see all these buildings here, over 40 buildings, all of them. They are in their 3D images. They can take you virtually through this city. They are changing the roads. These guys are so good that they even know which dustbins are filling up faster than others. These dustbins, man. My God.
All right. You know what? I'm
So,
very cold.
wait. So, this is the lesson. This is not about Estonia. This is about our companies and our country. And our data. This is the thing. Today, think about this thing. Creating a digital twin of yourself, getting obsessed with data, and getting obsessed with refining yourself to become the very best. And creating the most futuristic company or the most futuristic city, whatever it is. Digital twin is the way to go.
Give it to
Digital twin, unbound.